Hey everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Mike in the Mad Pod. And I wanted to just first apologize for not recording my picks last week. And ultimately, I'm going to apologize for not recording them this week. I didn't have my recording equipment with me last week. I went home for the weekend and didn't have my equipment. And by that, I mean my headphones. And then this week, I have way too much to talk about. So I'm going to put the picks on hold one more time. I don't want to jam that in here because I don't want this video to be too long. But there are just so many things I need to talk about. So let's start with the New York Yankees. Now, if you paid attention at all, the Yankees made a move this week that has shocked the solar plexus of Major League Baseball. The Yankees traded for the reigning National League MVP, Giancarlo Stanton. And the Yankees now are going to have Judge and Stanton hitting back-to-back in their lineups. The same kind of player, the same kind of big bat. And I'm not going to lie to you, folks, I was not as excited as I should have been about that. You know what I mean? Because I see so many things wrong with this deal, and I'm going to list a few of them, and let me know if you agree, because I could be wrong with some of this stuff. And initially, I was more upset than I was now. I've kind of mellowed out, especially when I heard about the terms of the trade and what Jeter didn't take and what he did as Marlins owner. But first thing I got to get into is the contract. Because when you trade for Giancarlo Stanton, you got to realize you're not just getting Stanton, you're getting the worst contract in the history of baseball. You know, why the Marlins even decided that this contract was a good idea when they first signed it was ridiculous. Now this contract, when he signed it in 2015, the offseason, 13 years, $325 million over 13 years. Now the way it's structured is very back-ended, meaning that he's going to get the majority of this money towards the later stages of his career. For example, in 2015 he made about $7 million, 16, $9 million. But then as the years go on, this year he's making 25. In 2021, he's 29. $29 million. And in 2023, when the man is 34 years of old, he's making $32 million. And the same for 2024 and 2025. Is that the guy you want making $32 million? Can you imagine that hit to the luxury tax if you're the Yankees? I know the deal is great now, but think about it. This is a guy who has not stayed healthy throughout the course of his career. In 7 career years, he's only been healthy for 3 of them. A guy who's only was only hit above 40 home runs once, and that was last year. The second most home runs he hit he actually led the league in 2014. He had 37. I mean, this is a guy who's a one-dimensional player who's making that much money throughout the course of this contract. This is the guy you want to give that much money to? I don't like it. I'm not going to lie to you. That contract scares me. It does. And the Yankees just got the A-Rod contract off the books too, which is why this is so shocking. And if you think about it, there's a lot of parallels when you consider the A-Rod deal, the Yankees getting Alex Rodriguez from the Rangers in 2003 for Alfonso Soriano. They're very, very similar parallels. The Rangers signing A-Rod to a contract they had no business of signing him to. The Yankees trading a second baseman for this All-Star. And a guy who hit 50 home runs the year before he got traded. Actually, I think A-Rod had 47, but when you think about it, I mean, just Giancarlo Stanton is not a 5-tool player. He doesn't flash any leather defensively. He's not fast. He hit 281 last year, but he's going to strike out a ton. Now you got to realize this Yankee team. Now they're going to hit home runs. This team is going to strike out a ton. This team may strike out 1,500 times as a team, and you can't win with that. And I know the guy brings the home run element. I know it's exciting to have Judge and Stanton in the same lineup, but there are holes in his game, and I just don't love it. And when I'm saying it back, it's zoning in my thought of why I didn't like this trade in the first place. This contract's too expensive. The Yankees are very one-dimensional. And not to mention, where is he going to play? I mean, I assume they're going to platoon Judge and Stanton in right field. But, Stanton has never played in left field. I think he's played 1 inning in left field. And Judge has never played anywhere else. I mean, you got to move these guys defensively. Now it's going to be an awkward defensive alignment. They could cost them, in situations that way. I mean, Judge learning a new position, who knows that'll affect his mind at the plate. I just don't like the move. I'm not going to lie. I think it was a very gimmicky move. Sell tickets to batting practice, which will be cool. I mean, this team is going to put on a show at batting practice with Sanchez, Judge, and Stanton. These guys were all in the home run derby. They could sell tickets to batting practice, but in terms of baseball sense, I just don't like the idea. I don't know. You let me know, guys. I might be crazy here. I'm not as excited about it as others. Other reasons why I don't like it. So we have the contract. We have the one-dimensionality of Stanton, right? We also traded Starlin Castro, and I like Castro a lot. Now, I know Castro didn't play great defense, and that we saw in the postseason, but I thought he had a chemistry with the Yankees. He was a contact hitter. he struck out a lot. Again, you really aren't. You're kind of netting out when you compare the amount of strikeouts Castro had to Stan. They're going to strike out about the same amount of times, so that doesn't matter. But Castro hits about 300. They're not paying him anything. Well, relatively speaking, for what he's worth. I liked him a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. It also puts the Yankees in position now where they're going to have to give the starting job to Gleyber Torres, and I think that can be very dangerous. Now, for those non-Yankee fans out there listening, Gleyber Torres is their top prospect right now. I think he's a top 2 prospect in all of baseball, if not top 5. I think he's number 2, actually. And it was thought that he would play this year, but I wanted Gleyber Torres to work for a starting position in spring training, work all offseason, not be handed the starting second baseman job because there's no one else. I really don't like that. I thought Castro, a year of mentoring Torres, and you saw it. I mean, Torres was upset when they traded Castro. I thought, there could be a mentor relationship right there, but obviously it's not happening unless the Yankees trade back for Castro. I know the Marlins actually are putting Castro up on the trade block. They want to get rid of him. They can't pay his contract either, so they could get him back. They're not going to, but yeah, I'm gonna miss him there. Yeah, and I just don't like the idea of gift wrapping a starting job to a player who's never played before. Or not played in the majors at least, not in an at-bat yet. To guarantee him a starting job, to me, is just a risky move. But we'll see. A lot to be determined. And listen, this contract, I kind of ranted there for a little while about Stanton. Bringing Stanton over, don't get me wrong, he's going to be great for this team. It's going to be exciting to see what he can do. I just have those concerns long term, but next year it'll be cool to see Judge and Stanton. If those guys can stay healthy and put on a show, this team is going to score a lot of runs. They're going to strike out a lot, and they could have some problems defensively, but it's going to be cool to see what this team can do. Oh, but before I move on, I have to talk about just the Marlins side of this trade. So again, like I said, I was initially angry with this, but then I calmed down when I realized that the Marlins basically gave him away and they're eating some of his contract. And that to me was a huge part of this. So I think they're eating about, I don't know if it was $35 or $50 million of that contract. So it makes it a little bit better. It's still a big contract, but they didn't get any of the Yankees, grade A prospects. I could have sworn, I thought Clint Frazier was going to get over there, or one of their other big-name guys, especially because they had 6 outfielders. But for Jeter not to get any of the A-grade prospects, they got, I forget, is it Jose Devers? They got Rafael Devers' cousin or whatever. That would have been a cool Yankee-Red Sox rivalry. But for them not to get any Yankee prospects is a horrible move by Jeter. And let me tell you something, Jeter really is, in his first few months here, has turned out to be a real terrible owner, I think. And now it's not just Jeter. Obviously, it's the whole network. He's only a small partner, but again, when you have the name of Derek Jeter, your name is going to be associated with every move that's made by that organization. But the moves he's made is just very, very odd to me. To not get another prospect in that deal, an A-grade prospect, to eat some of that money, to fire the plethora of coaches he fired. I just don't get it. So it'll be remain to see. But let's move on to some other Yankee news here. And I have to be honest with you guys, this Yankee move made me much more excited than the Stanton trade. I was a 10 out of 10 ecstatic. I had a big grin on at work when I found this out. The Yankees were able to dump Chase Headley's contract. They traded it back to the Padres along with Brian Mitchell for another outfielder named Jabari Blash, who I've never heard of. And I'll be honest with you, he probably will not even make the opening day roster. Again, they have 6 outfielders. It's hard to believe that another one of those outfielders will be there. But again, the win here is they dumped Chase Headley, and that's huge for so many reasons. One, that's money off of the luxury tax, so the Yankees might be under that magic number this year. And two, Chase Headley is gone. Folks, this is a long time coming. Let's look back at the horrid career that is Chase Headley as a Yankee. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. His first year in 2014, he was fine. I mean, he did an admirable job. I remember he had a walk-off hit his first week over. Again, they traded never nervous Yangervis Solarte over to the Padres for Chase Headley when he came over. And he had a walk-off hit his first week, and he wasn't bad. But the Yankees gave him a contract that was ridiculous, a 3-year deal. I think it was like $56 million. And he had 2 of the worst seasons I've ever seen, including 2016, where he did not have an extra base hit in one double the first 2 months of the season. But let's remember, Bartolo Colon had a home run before Chase Headley did. That's how sad that is. You have his defensive play, which I guess he fields the ball, and I guess he gives you some options at first base, but the guy can't throw a guy out across the diamond to save his life. He's throwing about 65 miles an hour across the diamond. I just don't see what he brings. He can't hit right-handed. The fact that he's a switch hitter is amazing to me. But none of that is important anymore because he's gone and he's in San Diego. Now, let's look at what the Yankees are going to do now. The Yankees technically have holes at second and third base, although, like I said before, Gleyber Torres is going to be the starter at second base. But third base, it's very interesting. You have another young guy, Miguel Andujar, who played a little bit last year. The Yanks love his bat. I don't think his glove is ready, and I don't think that they think it is either. So he's an option. You have Ronald Torreyes is another guy in-house they could bring into play there. I don't think, again, he's a utility guy. He has a great job in that role. I don't see him as the starting everyday third baseman. So they can. So ultimately, I think they're going to go out and they're going to get someone. And whether that's re-signing the Todd father, although I don't think it is, because that's another righty bat in that lineup, another one-dimensional righty, hits home runs, strikes out a lot. Or you can do what I want. And this is what I've been thinking about, and I get so giddy with laughter when I think about this. If you're the Yankees, I think you go out there and you make your best pitch to Mike Moustakas. Now, Mike Moustakas is 20 years old, coming off of a career year, 38 home runs for the Royals. But the thing is, he's a lefty bat, plays good defense, and he doesn't strike out that much for the type of hitter he is. He struck out 90 times last year, and that's a bat I want in this lineup. And if they can get him, and now I'm assuming they can get him, folks, I'm going to flash the lineup screen right now in front of you. But when you look at this lineup I have in front of you right now here, folks, it is absolutely scary. And the one thing I do really want to stress is I want to see Didi hitting second. In this lineup, you cannot, with Stanton and Judge, you cannot hit Didi fourth. You can't. Hit him second. But when you have Stanton, Judge, and then the lefty protection of Moustakas, or you can flip Moustakas and Bird, either way, and then you're hitting, Hicks 8th and Torres 9th. That is a great lineup. And Sanchez, your 6th hitter. I mean, how do you pitch this lineup, folks? This is going to be scary. I think adding Mike Moustakas makes a lot of sense. But if they don't get Moustakas, again, I would hit Bird 5th in that case. But either way, folks, it's exciting to be a Yankee fan. I'm kind of taking back all my Stanton comments earlier. Because right now, it looks pretty promising to have both these guys. Obviously, the problems will come in the future with Stanton. But right now, 2018, 2019, folks, watch out for this Yankee team. So that's what I would say. I would give him, if I'm Brian Cashman, get Mike Moustakas here. I know he's gonna want some money, but again, if you look at he's never hit more than 22 home runs before this year. So he shouldn't be asking for a lot of money. I wouldn't pay him anything crazy like $100 million, but if you can get this guy for, in the teens, upper teens for a year, like $17, $18 million a year, 5 years, you bring this guy to New York. You bring this guy to New York and watch this team win you 3 more World Series. I mean, let's be honest here, folks. This team with this firepower, who's ready for March and April? Let's go here, But I'll tell you what, to answer that question, I'll tell you who is ready for March and April is Eagle fans, and that's where we go to next. I got to talk about some of this NFL because this was kind of a crazier weekend. Let's start with the Eagles. What do you say? I mean, personally speaking, I don't like the Eagles. I've never made two bones about that. I've not been an Eagle fan. My least favorite NFL team. But I'll tell you, I felt for the Philly fan base because that was a shock to see Carson Wentz go down. And they had such a great year. I know every one of my Philly fans out there, my Eagle fans, is devastated by this news that Wentz has tore his ACL. And if you look at the hit, it's just unfortunate, but diving forward. And that's why these scrambling quarterbacks have got to watch out. It's a very dangerous game when you're a scrambler. But it's just such a devastating for the Eagles. Now, the thing I say with the Eagles, though, again, I don't know this team as well as I would like the Giants or the Cowboys, because those are the two teams I really follow. But I still think the Eagles are a pretty good team. They can beat you so many ways. Now, the parallel I would compare this to is the Packers losing Aaron Rodgers. Right, very similar situations, right? Two very, very good quarterbacks, except the Eagles have a team, right? They have played excellent defensive football, whether it's their secondary, which has stepped up this year, or their front seven. And I think Jim Schwartz should be commended for that because I thought defensively they played great. After last year, I thought they didn't have much in the secondary. They turned out to have some players. They played some very good games there. And then they can beat you with the run game, too. They have Jay Ajayi, who they traded for. LeGarrette Blount, Wendell Smallwood, although I think he might be out for a little bit. I'm not entirely sure there. Obviously, Sproles is gone. But they can beat you so many ways. And listen, Foles is not Brett Hundley. Nick Foles has been there before. He's led this team down the stretch. He came in for the injured Michael Vick and played great. I think he could do it again. So, Eagle fans, if you're listening, don't fret. I don't think this is by any means a situation like Aaron Rodgers leaving the Packers. You know what I mean? Because I think that Packer team is very mediocre without Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they almost lost to the Browns the other day, which is, just unfortunate in terms of, betting and whatnot. If you bet against the Browns, like I've been thinking about doing every year, although I haven't done it because I'm a sissy when it comes to betting. But anyway, for the Eagle fans, don't fret. I do not think by any stretch of the imagination this is the end of your season. You're going to have a first round bye. You're going to see a road wild card team in there. And you're going to get a chance, and that's really all you can ask for in this league. And anything can happen, so don't worry. It's unfortunate, but this team has some fight in it. I think the Eagles are going to go pretty far, and we may be, raising the Lombardi Trophy in Philly for the first time. But all right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I probably went a little longer than I wanted to with those topics. I have a bunch of other things I want to talk about. I also wanted to start talking about the Hall of Fame, but I'm actually going to hold off on that. I have some thoughts on the recent electees, Alan Trammell and Jack Morris. I have thoughts on them, but I want to save that for when the actual class gets released in January, and I can have a collective discussion about all of that, and I can give you my thoughts on the steroid users in the Hall of Fame and all the rest. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll get back to you next week. Thanks again.